So there I was scrolling through YouTube trying to get some inspiration for my next YouTube video, and on my For You page pops up a video called Forcing Myself to Read 30 Manga Recommendations by a YouTuber named Alex. It sounds like I butchered that name somehow, and if I did, I'm sorry, I guess. Anyways, then I thought no way in hell this guy actually read 30 manga, but I was wrong, he did, and it was actually a really enjoyable video. So, like all good YouTubers do, I was inspired and decided to take on this challenge and make a video of my own. So here we are, forcing myself to read 20 manga recommendations. Now the way Alex did it, he put out a community thing on his YouTube and had people send him recommendations, and since I don't have enough subs to do that yet, I went further than any man has gone for this type of video. Discord. I went into Discord and asked random strangers to give me some manga recommendations, and not to spoil the video or anything, but they did send me into both the deepest, and I mean deepest part of degeneracy that's allowed in manga, and also some of the best that just manga has to offer. This took me 3 days alone to just record myself reading all the manga. Editing this video was a bitch, I can tell you that. So to keep this video from being 10 hours long, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet and just give you my honest thoughts slash review slash regret making this video. Keeping the intro short, the rules are as followed: 1 recommendation per person. They can recommend any manga so long as I haven't read it before or watched an anime adaptation of said manga, and a minimum of 5 chapters per manga I will be reading. Just in case I forget to put in all the timestamps of the manga we'll be going through, here's the list of manga I read throughout the process of making this video. So here you go. With the rules out the way and everything being said, please sit back and enjoy watching me slowly lose my mind during the making of this video. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I honestly couldn't be happier starting off with this manga. Going into Discord and asking strangers what they would recommend to read and the first thing not be hentai, I was honestly shocked. What's more surprising is this manga was actually some gas, like it was actually really good. I mean, it's so good that after I finished like the mandatory 5 chapters, I just kept reading and reading and reading, and now I'm almost caught up to the current chapter. If all the manga recommendations end up being like this is going to be a great video. In a world where Godzilla-like creatures called Kaiju do nothing but cause chaos and havoc, our main protagonist Kafka does nothing but clean up their shit after all the hard work is done. But with the stroke of good luck, if that's really what you want to call it, a Kaiju finds him and slithers down his throat, and now he has the ability to turn into a Kaiju, which honestly, basically it's just a better version of a Hollow from Bleach. I mean, that's it. The art style, the story, and out of all the chapters I've read, I can honestly say that this manga has piqued my interest, so I definitely will be continuing to read this. That's actually such a meme. Like, this is exactly how Deku got his powers, and we all know how he turned out as an MC, so I hope it doesn't stay like that. I hope he's actually better than Deku, but to be fair, it's not that hard to be a better MC than Deku. Our second recommendation is Ayashimon, and now I just finished reading the mandatory 5 chapters, right, and I still have no idea what to make of this manga. Basically, the crime of the underworld is ruled by monsters, the Yakuza, the regular scammers, sex workers. Basically, any crime organization is filled with these mythological creatures. And our main protagonist, who is a ordinary human, Maru, is like a knockoff Saitama. That's the best way I can put it. After reading so much manga and training like his favorite characters such as Goku and Jotaro, he just became a beast. That's it. This man only lives to fight. He wants nothing more than to be a manga protagonist. He says that in the manga. That's his #1 goal. He's too dumb to do anything else, really, and he's just a pawn being used by some lolly out for revenge. But to be honest, I'll probably continue to read this because it's actually pretty funny. I'd give it a 7 out of 5. Reading Chainsaw Man was actually a lot of fun. The only thing I knew about this title was from watching its anime trailer, and to be honest, it actually did a complete 180 of what I was actually expecting. When I was going into this manga, I was expecting to be reading something more like a Tokyo Ghoul type of manga, but I couldn't be more wrong. The main character, Denji, is so fucking funny. He's just some super horny dude trying to live his life to the fullest. Out of the 5 chapters I've read, every single one, he's just thirsting for some women. He wants to eat good food, he wants to make friends, he wants to touch boobs and have sex with a girl. And it was hilarious to read. I liked this manga. I really did. I enjoyed it very much, and I'm thankful for the person who recommended this to me because now I'm just even more excited for the anime. It's solid. 12 out of 10. Would definitely recommend. 100 grand worth of one testicle? Jesus Christ. Well, I know what to do if I ever go broke. It finally started, ladies and gentlemen. The degeneracy has finally started to show itself. Fire Punch, and I'm literally sick after reading what I just read. This manga is both very creative and sickening at the same time. Fire Punch is interesting to say the least. This manga takes place in a apocalyptic type world, and we all know how those end up being. In the first chapter alone, we are introduced to cannibalism, slaves, murder, and even a little bit of incest. The world as we know it is gone, with a never-ending snowstorm covering the entire world. Now, a small percent of the population have abilities called blessings. Now, it's believed that this snowstorm is caused by someone with a blessing. And our main character, Agni, is one of those small percentage of people that have blessings. Now, he's cracked, like cracked beyond belief. He has a super broken regenerative ability. For example, he can grow an arm back in seconds. Then, one day, when his village is raided by some outside military force, one of them is, bad shit crazy, and he has a blessing, a fire ability, and he burns Agni's entire village and his sister to ashes. Now, this fire is special. It only goes out when the fuel burns up. The fuel being people, houses, basically anything. But since Agni's regeneration is so cracked, this man lives for only one purpose: revenge on the man that killed his sister. He goes through 8 years of constant burning just to learn how to live with the never-ending pain. Like I said, this shit is crazy and gruesome, but it's also very creative and I kind of fuck with it. So I'm gonna keep reading it because it's unique. I fuck with this series heavily after only reading 5 chapters. Vagabond is action-packed and the art style alone is enough to draw you in. Now, obviously, I've heard good things about this manga, but I never got around to reading it. But, I'm gonna keep this one short and simple. I'm gonna continue to read this shit. This shit is fire. There's no reason why I wouldn't enjoy this manga. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say for it. Now, we all saw this coming, eventually, and here we are. The first hentai of this video, and yes, there are more to come, no pun intended. Basically, this rich kid never felt the love of a parent, so he bought himself a house and built a family of his own, except everyone in his so-called family are people he met on the street who he has no blood ties to. Basically, the man just built himself a harem. Honestly, not a bad read. I mean, the plot is kind of stupid, but the plot is goddamn 10 out of 10 would recommend. Now, I have no idea how to say the title of this manga, and I'm not even gonna attempt it, but this manga is strangely keeping me interested. It's fucked up without a single doubt, but I still wanted to read every chapter. You know those manga where like the guy, the main character, is like so incredibly fucked up in the head and he's a horrible person, but at the same time you just want to keep reading every chapter because it's so goddamn interesting? This is that type of manga. Basically, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Mako here has a sister who needs a heart transplant, and after life gives him a royal fucking, he curses and blames the gods because all the shit that he's been going through in his life. Then the gods repay him by sticking him in a time loop, and the only way he and his sister can escape said time loop is by killing someone every single day. It's not like he's a full-blown psychopath. Well, that's not how he starts off. He starts off as a really good guy, but he's just someone that would do anything to save his sister, even if it's murder. It's interesting, it got my attention, and I wanted to read every chapter. 9 out of 5. I have absolutely no idea what the fuck I just read. Without a doubt, the longest 5 chapters anyone here would have to read, and I still don't fully understand this shit. This is like a mind-altering manga that makes you contemplate life, make you think about who you are, what it means to be human, your place in the world, and if it really matters. This manga is, well, too big brain for my brain to comprehend, but it's good, I guess. I mean, it fucks with your head heavily, but it's still good. Ori of the Dragon Chain, I kind of liked this manga, like, more than I should. It's actually really wholesome, and it pulls you in early by all the controversy surrounding the protagonist Nozomu. It's your basic fantasy academy storyline so far. I mean, the MC is an outcast for being weak, but is secretly the strongest person in the academy. It's setting up like it could be a revenge storyline, which I love because I really do love revenge plots, like, a lot. Think of this as like, you know the anime Chivalry of a Failed Knight? Imagine that, but better. That's how I would describe this manga, and I'd give it an honest 8 out of 7 because I fucked with it. Study group is basically Bruce Lee enters a high school filled with delinquents. That's how I would sum up this manga. From the 5 chapters I read, I actually really enjoyed reading every single one, so I'll probably continue to read this. It's funny, nothing really like over the top about this except, you know, just imagine Bruce Lee enters a high school and he fucks up every single person that stops him from studying and going to college. That's how I would sum up this manga. I liked it, I enjoyed it, so here you go, read it if you want. To make this one short and sweet, out of the 5 chapters I just read, it was alright. I mean, it's basically our world, but there's heroes, and wouldn't you know it, those heroes were all corrupt from the beginning. The main character, whose name escapes me right now, comes close to death and awakens his power of super broken regeneration. And he has a twin brother, and he has a super broken ability also, and it's just fire, but for some reason it's super overpowered. And after his brother, who happens to be his twin, he dies, the main character somehow steals his power. I guess that's how twins work. And just like that, a super overpowered anti-hero is born. Didn't really keep me interested, to be honest. I give it a solid 3 out of 5. So yeah, moving on. Gachiakuta. Now, I really wasn't all that interested in reading this manga from the first 2 chapters. I was kind of forcing myself to read it just because, you know, the rules of the video. But once that 3rd chapter hit, I was hooked. I do like the concept of this manga. Two worlds completely different from each other. One is a clean utopia and the other is a trash dump. But the only thing separating these two civilizations is a wall splitting it down the middle. Once I realized that this was a revenge manga, I got even more interested in it. So all in all, I do like it. Just make it past those first two chapters and then you are good to go. Now the next recommendation we got is called Ottoman. Our first and only appearance from our friend Chuck-kun. He has finally appeared, ladies and gentlemen. We all knew it was going to happen, and it has finally happened. Aliens are running rampant, and when one salaryman is making his way back home to his wife, he is hit by, wouldn't you know it, Truck-kun. Thank God this isn't an isekai though. For real, I don't like isekai. An alien, for some reason, decides to save his life, and they become a superhero duo that works for some secret government organization that saves the world. Now, how does his power work, you might be asking? I know you're probably not asking that, but for the sake of the video, just go along with it. With his super strong power of love for his wife. This man is basically Saitama. Like, imagine JoJo's and One Punch Man combined into one manga. That's how I would sum it up, basically. It's pretty entertaining, to be honest. I kind of liked it, so yeah, moving on. Wouldn't you know it, ladies and gentlemen, guess what we're reading next? A hentai! Man up, girl. I don't know how sick in the head you have to be to actually read this. I mean, we all knew it was coming back, but here we are with another hentai. Do yourself a favor. Don't read this. You have to be kind of fucked in the head to actually enjoy liking this. Even worse, for a hentai, I was flaccid as can be reading this. Like, what? That's like the one job of a hentai and you failed at it. Basically, boyfriend is bad in the sack and girlfriend breaks up with him. Cut to the next day when they switch bodies and they screw each other to get back into their own bodies. That's the entire plot of this hentai. Do not recommend. I did not enjoy this. Do not read this. The next recommendation is called Jagaan. I have absolutely no idea what the fuck I just read. Frogs are turning people into corrupted humans. The main character is a sociopath who is slowly also turning into a corrupted human. Out of the 5 chapters I read, it really didn't pull me in all that much, to be honest. It's still a good read, but just not for me, I guess. The next recommendation I will be reading is Ragna Crimson. The title honestly doesn't sound that interesting, but I'm still gonna read it, so let's do this.
5 hours later.
Now, if you have watched my videos before, you know full well how much I love dragons. This manga is all about the complete annihilation of the dragon race. It's your basic fantasy world. Dragons are the supreme being, as usual, and humans hunt dragons in order to survive. The main character, Ragna, and his future self combine their power to become the ultimate dragon hunter. He pairs up with a dragon king turned traitor to become the duo that will bring about the end of the dragon race. Honestly, if you're into that, read it. If not, don't. It's interesting, but nothing grand, to be honest. 5 out of 5 for me. Next up, I will be reading The Hero Who Craves Revenge. I like revenge. I like revenge plots. So let's see where this takes us.
The next day.
Like I said, I am a fan of revenge plots. I really am. But I like well thought out revenge, you know? You know when the MC just takes away and destroys everything against the people who wronged him, putting them in such despair that all that's left is for the MC just to finish them off? Yeah, see, that's a good revenge manga. This is just killing and torturing for the sake of killing and torturing. It's alright, to be honest, but nothing great. I mean, it's just revenge, but it's not really satisfying revenge, if you get what I'm saying. Now, when this person told me the title of this manga, I did not want to look this up because, well, I can't say the word that is in the title of this manga. And, you know, I still had to look it up because it was a recommendation. And here's how it went. What the fuck did I just read? This is a meme. Why are the fight scenes so well drawn? And why the hell did I low-key enjoy reading this? I refuse to believe that someone out there is making money from this manga. I really hope someone is not making money from this, because if they are, that is, I don't even know how to explain it. That's both either incredibly smart or just, it's a racist dude making this manga. This cannot be real. I refuse to believe that this is an actual thing. I hate my life. Now, I've heard a lot of things about this manga, but I haven't ever touched it or like done any research about it, but this is a very highly recommended manga. Apparently it's called 20th Century Boys, so let's get into it. 5 chapters is not enough to get even a basic understanding of this manga. You are only scratching the very surface. You have no idea of the psychological torture your mind goes through reading this manga. I will not be continuing to read this because I don't know what the fuck my brain will do. We did it, we have reached the final manga recommendation. It is called My Dearest Self with Malice. I have no idea what this is, but I'ma read it.
Eventually.
Solid, very solid psychological manga. The son of a serial killer with a split personality disorder, with his loss of time and dead bodies dropping like the way his father killed people. He begins to, you know, unravel a little bit in the head. It's honestly a solid start to a manga. It keeps you interested, and this also isn't just straight horror. There's a little mystery to it, which I honestly like most about it. I really do like little mysteries in these psychological mangas. All in all, I give it a 10 out of 10. I'll probably continue to read this because I liked it. My brain is so fried right now that I'm probably not going to be reading much manga for a long time, but yeah, I there was some manga I just read that I can't take back, so yeah, take that with what you will. But there it is, the final recommendation done. It is finally over. Thank God Almighty, this shit is over. I can finally rest my brain and go to sleep happy, knowing that I won't have to wake up the next day to read more manga. Seriously though, if you guys have made it to the end of this video, give yourself a pat on the back, because I know I will. I appreciate all of you, seriously, I do. 3 days of reading 20 different manga recommendations. This video was like its own little hell, and you guys went through it with me, so yeah, that was fun, I guess. I did have fun making this video. This was my first real deep dive into manga. I mean, I've read manga before, but nothing that I wasn't like already aware of. This was my first real interaction with manga. You guys helped me pop my manga cherry, if you will. I'm so sorry I just said that. That's nasty. As you can see, my brain is malfunctioning right now, so I'm gonna just end the video with this. Thank you all. I appreciate you more than you know, more than the words that are coming out of my mouth mean right now. seriously, I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Yeah, goodbye, later.